Hey everyone, it's Brian here. Today's video is part of a series in which we'll tackle common coding questions that FAANG companies ask you during your technical interview screens. These questions often trip up new grads and new engineers, yet they're essential to acing the FAANG interview process and scoring that dream job. In this series, I'll walk you through how to fully tackle each of these coding challenges. We'll analyze the problem together, walk through it with step-by-step explanations, and present an optimum solution that the interviewer expects at the end of your session. Without further ado, let's dive right into the problem. All right, today's problem is climbing stairs. This is a super common and popular problem, and I think it's actually a lot of fun. It's a dynamic programming problem, which it naturally kind of lends itself towards a Fibonacci sequence, actually. But there's lots of videos explaining this in dynamic programming in, I think, way too overcomplicated of a way, especially how Python lends itself towards solving this problem. So once again, we are using Python 3 to solve this. And we're going to take a look at a really simple approach that you can actually reach within a reasonable time frame in an interview, and not one that goes into the whole mathematical concept of this and every single edge case that ends up being a disaster. So like any technical interview, we're going to take a first minute or two to read over the problem description together. We see that we are climbing a staircase that takes n steps to reach the top, and each time we can either take 1 or 2 steps up the staircase. And the question just wants us to output how many ways can we climb to the top distinctly. So distinct means we're not going to have any duplicates, and we're not going to have any, and in this problem, distinct just means unique. We don't want any repeat solutions, and this lends itself really nicely to just a normal tree structure. So before we dive in, if you are unfamiliar with dynamic programming or Fibonacci, I highly recommend you watch one of the many YouTube tutorials on either of those two concepts. The Fibonacci sequence is present throughout nature and everything, so a lot of interviews expect that you simply know it. Likewise, a lot of interviewers expect to test you on dynamic programming before you go in for even an intern level position, so you should be prepared to be asked a dynamic programming question. And if you're not familiar yet with recursion 2, I highly recommend you watch a video on recursion before proceeding with this tutorial. With those prefaces said, let's dive into the examples. In example 1, we see here that our input is 2, so our staircase will take 2 steps to reach the top. And you can either take 1 step and 1 step at a time or 2 steps. Pretty simple. I think you can visualize this example. In example 2, we start to get a little more complicated. You can, of course, take 1 step at a time as with a normal staircase. Or you can take 1 step or 2 steps, or 2 steps and 1 step. Note that it's just giving you this example so that you see that 2 and 3 are unique from each other. Likewise, if there was a further example with n equals 4, we could either take 4 individual steps, a 2-step and a 2-step, or some combination of the permutations of 1 plus 2 steps up the staircase. And that's where the problem starts to get tricky. Luckily for us, we can take advantage of recursion and Fibonacci, in which we don't have to keep track of every single thing that happened before what we're doing, right? We know that if we're on a current step, we can only take 1 or 2 steps from there, and whatever we did in the past is just recorded somewhere in our recursive frames. So this is where we start to need to get a little bit clever with it. There's a lot of ways to start brute forcing this problem, going through 2 for loops, going through, every brute case scenario, and that's probably not even going to execute, and our interviewer won't be too happy. So instead, we need to think a little bit smarter here. You could use memoization, you could use some fancy techniques, but that introduces a lot of memory complexity, and recursion and memory complexity can get really out of hand really fast, and that's how a lot of applications actually crash when people introduce that. So instead, let's rely on the fact that our growth sequence here, meaning the number of steps being 1 or 2 forward, is a Fibonacci sequence, and that is the key to solving this problem in a simple and efficient way. Now, Fibonacci sequence goes 1, 1, 2, 3, summing up the last thing before it. So you could view that basically as A plus B, A being your previous value and B being your current value to get to your next one. Now we have a bit of an issue with that though, because our stairs, we start on the ground, right? So how do we really advance that forward when we're trying to sum something that doesn't have a previous? Because we know that we have to start with 1 as in the Fibonacci sequence, we can actually falsely give ourselves a previous value of 1 to kick off our algorithm before we start really summing up all of the ways of walking up a stair with 1 plus 2. In fact, further pushing the Fibonacci point, we don't actually have to write 2 anywhere in the code because of how the Fibonacci sequence works. So let's start coding, and I show you what I mean here. And it's okay if you don't have the intuition yet on how to do this type of problem, because this problem is really the foundation for building an intuition on dynamic programming and Fibonacci related problems. You will eventually be presented probably this problem in which you can either take 1 or 2 or 3 steps or any different type amount of steps. And that's where your intuition of dynamic programming really needs to shine. So let's see what I really mean about A and B in code. Well, we're going to initialize A and B first. So we have A, comma B, in which we are initializing them simultaneously. And we're going to assign the A, meaning our previous, to 1, and B to 0, meaning what we're currently at on our counter. Afterwards, we know that we have n steps to reach the top, and we're going to have to consider every n platform of steps and our decision from that step forward. So we're going to iterate over that n times. So iterating it over n times will result in a linear runtime to start with here. Now, this is where the Fibonacci sequence really needs to be known. We know in Fibonacci that our previous will be assigned now to our previous plus current. So that would look something like A is equal to A plus B. Likewise, we know that what we're currently at will be flipped with the last thing that we were at. So to get that, we would simply do B is equal to A. And that pushes our loop forward because now we can view it as A is updating our current plus our previous, and B is really actually the next thing forward. So we're handling our current, our previous, and basically our next all within this simple assignment. And now to make sure this assignment looks clean and is good, we're going to switch it to a simultaneous assignment in which B is assigned there. And we just simply add a comma and A to make it all happening at the same time. And then at the end of this, we have to think about what we're going to return, right? Well, if B is almost essentially acting as our next now that we've kicked off the loop and we're no longer dealing with a 0, then we will want to return A because A has our current running sum of ways to reach the top. Now let's sanity check this Fibonacci sequence to ourselves. Now let's check that this logic makes sense, and for purposes of learning, I'm actually going to use PythonTutor here, which is a way to visualize Python and recursion, and you'll be able to see what's actually happening within all of these frames. So we see that we have a function here being called climb stairs. Our n is passed through as 3. Now we've hit the point where A is 1 and B is 0. PythonTutor is keeping track for us all of the states of our variables and even our underscore, which just means that it's a temporary variable that is going to be thrown away. We hit line 4, which is probably where most of you will want to see what's actually happening there. And we see that B is updated to 1 and our temporary variable is advanced to the next stage of the loop. In this stage of the loop, we see that A is updated to 2 because A plus B is just 1 plus 1 and A is now 1 plus 1. And then we see that B gets updated to 1 because that's what A was currently at. Now in the next iteration of the range, and remember range on n equals 3 goes 0, 1, 2 in Python. So that's something important to remember. So on this last loop, we see that A gets updated to 3 because 2 plus 1 is 3, and B gets updated to, but it gets discarded because we're actually going to return A as that is the current running sum of how many ways there are to climb the stairs. So because A is 3, and we finished all of our loops because range only goes from 0 up to n minus 1 of your actual number given in, we exit and we return 3, which is the amount of way to climb the stairs. Now, for curiosity's sake, let's make sure number 4 is right too, and that our Fibonacci sequence is followed. So I'll update climb stairs to 4, and I'll just skip ahead to the last section. And we see that our return value is 5, and there are 5 ways to climb up to n equals 4 stairs, which makes sense with what we know about the Fibonacci sequence. All right, with all of that explained and coded, I hope this shows that basically climbing stairs as a LeetCode problem is really just identifying that this is the Fibonacci sequence, and you should provide the solution to the Fibonacci sequence in Python. If someone asks you in an interview, please write out the Fibonacci sequence and have it count to like the nth number of it. This code is actually identical to it, and that's why it's a bit of a fun and over-explained problem because it really just boils down to getting that code written out. You could do this using memoization, you could do this using some more sophisticated techniques, but a lot of interviewers would probably actually find that that misses the point of this problem. If they wanted to test you on memoization, they would just give you a memoization problem from the start. Instead, this problem is really about identifying one of the most prevalent patterns in nature, which is Fibonacci. All right, now that we've finished the problem, I hope this video was helpful to you, and thank you so much for watching. Please give a like if it was helpful and helped you out, and I believe that all of this content should be free and not behind some course or a paywall like some other channels. My goal is to grow this channel providing free content for aspiring engineers to use in pursuing their dream careers, And if you do believe in this mission with me too, please consider dropping a subscribe. It will definitely help my channel grow and keep me motivated to keep producing more content. With that said, thank you so much and have a good one.